Welcome, welcome back to the Willis Podcast. Yeah, we back, we here, and we are. We're gonna start a little something today. We're gonna start a little something. We're gonna make a little routine out of this thing. We kind of enjoy ourselves doing this. Okay, we're having a good time, having a really good time.
We got a visitor.
We
Another
got a
visitor.
visitor. We got another
Jeep.
visitor. We got a little Jeep, our dog.
Sorry.
So he gonna be doing little stuff. We're gonna try to stay on cue, stay on point. But hey, we give us give us give us some grace because we got Jeepers in the house. So yeah, we back. Took us a little while. We had to drop the little munchkin off with a grandma. But anyway, um, today's show, as you can see, the value of your mate. Building a marriage through discovery. That's what we're going to be discussing today. So the thing is, marriage is not just about finding the right person. It's about becoming the right person together. Your mate is not your enemy. Your mate is not your enemy, not your competition, and definitely not, an obstacle. The thing is, they're your partner. In the journey of discovery, you should always take upon that together. You have nothing else to do. I mean, if you want to grow together. But we're going to walk through it, so we're going to be all right. We're going to walk through it together the right bit. Anyway, so we're going to discuss. Me and the missus going to discuss some things. The value of your mate, overcoming fears in your relationships, protecting your relationship from outside energy. Boy, that's a big one. And becoming influential to one another. And you also, marriage is about development of two people growing into one vision. So anyway, Miss Willis.
Yes, sir.
So the value of partnership. How would you discuss that when it comes to like, let's say, because if people don't realize the value of their spouse until they lose the connection, what do you think about
Well, I think that's a harder way to learn. Um to not see the value of somebody until they're gone. That's a tough one. So when you ask what re ask the question for me one more time.
It's many people don't realize the value of their spouse until they lose the connection with them.
Okay. And so you're asking what I think about
What
that,
do you
or
think about that? Like, it's basically uh, when you don't participate back and forth, exchange with one another,
hmm
everything becomes sort of a not a routine, but it becomes robotic.
okay.
So if it's robotic, you're just going through the motions. You don't find a way to exchange or go back and forth.
Mhm. Mhm.
So we close. We do a lot of things together.
Mhm.
But some people can't wait to get away from their spouse. Sometimes
Or some people don't want to come home.
that's true.
Think those are people that hold up traffic that don't want to come
They
home.
don't want to come home.
They don't want to go home. But see, I think the value of, and again, y'all, that's cheap in the background. Um, it's 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 one of those tough things. I think it's a situation of realizing what you see in that person.
Okay, so okay,
Go
go ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
So, what makes your mate valuable? Just a some question. What makes like I can tell you what makes you valuable, or in particular peculiar situations, some people
hmm
don't give you nothing of value.
But I think that is, it depends on what they're looking for.
Right.
So if the person, it depends on what they value.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we talked about this previously in the previous
Yeah.
episode, is you got to be honest with yourself and what you're looking for in a mate. Because if, to me, valuing someone, you can you can use someone, value what they have or offer, but that doesn't mean you love that person. So when you value something that somebody brings to the table, um, it's it's one of those things like, Do you love them because what they're offering, or do you love them because of who they are?
Mm. Yep,
So valuing it can be a bit tricky.
it is. So, is it what they do for you, or is it how they make you feel, or is it is it a life you build together? Like, I think all of those things you have to figure out.
You do.
You know.
And it is, I think you know ahead of time because it becomes the reason that you're with that person in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, let's see, what was the first point you were
First one I
mentioning?
was,
No, no,
or
just now you were saying to value that person. Is it because of what they
what they do
do
for
for
you.
you?
Mm-hmm. And
It was something else
yeah,
that you
it
named.
makes how does it make you? How they make you feel?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, gosh, this gets complicated for me. It
You
gets
keep
complicated.
just talk it out.
Well, it gets complicated because again, when you think about like when we talk about these things, I don't just think about married couples. I think about who you are before you got married, what you were looking for, but before you got involved
Mm-hmm.
with that person that you later married,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is where self acknowledgement comes into play. This is where are you at this point in time in your life?
Mm-hmm.
Um, are you whole? Are you broken? Are you healing?
Mm-hmm.
Um, because that determines what you're looking for, how you decide to connect with a mate,
Mm-hmm.
how they make you feel,
Oh yeah.
and if it's longevity or not.
Right.
Because if you're broken or healing, you can easily mistaken a person that's helping you through that process to be your lifelong mate. And then once you're healed, now it's something altogether different.
Mm. So that value changes.
The values can change
Mm.
and how they make you feel can change because now that a person that's used to maybe um, giving you a certain level of attention, now you may not need that type of attention anymore. So if you don't need that type of attention, you can feel smothered. And now it's, oh, you're doing too, you too needy. You too this. No, you were the needy one at first. They were just satisfying your needs. Now
And that
you're
could
no
be
longer needy. Yeah, that could be,
misconstrued.
it's played as time.
Yeah, but also it's the exchange of how the other person feel too. Like the other person
Yeah.
feel like, well, damn, you just
What
gonna use
happened?
what the hell happened?
Yeah, what happened? Now,
What?
and
Shit.
them being that type of a
Mm-hmm.
either a lover or that type of that's the way they show affection.
Yeah.
Like it throws everything off.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just said, it's like a boomerang. Like
Yeah.
you like this at first, what
But
happened?
now it's disgusting, or
It's smothering. Now
smothering
it's
is
yeah,
annoying, or
yeah, yeah,
that type
yeah,
of
yeah,
shit.
yeah. So that's why
Gotcha.
it still goes back to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, did you really seek what you needed or did you seek what you just
For
wanted
the
at the
time
time
being.
for the time being? Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Gotcha. All right. So a good mate provides things like supporting support through difficult times, like we were just talking about. Support through
mm-hmm,
difficult times. Accountability when you're wrong. It's all about, like you said, it's all about self acknowledgement as well
mm-hmm,
in a
mm-hmm,
relationship because you're responsible for your part, right?
mm-hmm,
Yeah. So then we got to talk about encouragement when you're discouraged. That's very important.
mm-hmm.
Encouragement when a person is discouraged. That's your duty as a mate. If your mate is feeling down, you know they can do better. You know who they are. You motivate them. You do anything in your power to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that they level out. You know what I mean?
Chief is cutting
I
up.
know he cutting up. Look at him.
Chief is cutting up right
Come here, why?
now.
Acting silly, little old boy.
Come here, Chief. I don't know if he wants to be on camera.
Nah, he just wanna do stuff,
Yeah.
little boy. Anyway, here we go. So another thing. Anyway, perspective when you they see when people get confused about certain things. So it may also provides a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So it clears your head. The mate is your medicine. Your mate is your medicine if you got a healthy one. But anyway,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
so we're gonna keep discussing. What do you believe people overlook the most about the value of their spouse? What do you think people overlook the most?
Um, well, I think they could take it for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think you mean as far as what type of things people overlook the
You know,
most, or
you know how people have like habitual behaviors, or
mm-hmm,
they do certain things,
mm-hmm,
and we teach each other. Well, we
mm-hmm.
tell each other. So we kind of blunt
We,
people.
yeah, yeah, we try to, right? We try. Depends on if
we
we receptive for it at that time or
yeah,
not, but we do listen. We
we
do listen
listen.
to each other. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a very important part. But the thing is, I think some people not having some, cognitive awareness with dealing with their mate, they can do these things right here. So we're talking about the fear is the enemy of connection. Let me tell you why. Because many relationships struggle because of fear. But fear involves rejection, vulnerability, being misunderstood, being hurt again, and sometimes not feeling like you're enough. That's when you with somebody like that, boy, that's a tough one. And they
Mm-hmm.
use those things as a weapon. They use every one of those fears, those fears. They use them as weapons, and
Mm-hmm.
they weaponize uh, your vulnerability. They weaponize, uh, you being misunderstood. They'll purposefully act like they don't know where you're coming from, and they do. They just want to make you feel alienated. So,
Give an example.
um, let's say, especially when it comes to spirituality. Oh, this is a tough one in relationships because
Possibly.
possibly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if you got spirituality, somebody might be spiritual, somebody might be religious. And if their family is one way and their family is a whole nother way, ooh. So that commonality can be manipulated.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example. A lot of men that don't really go to church or even religious. I find men to be more spiritually inclined in some instances, and I use spiritually inclined because if you don't got no religion, you don't go to church, you don't do. A lot of men don't. We kind of gave up on that a long time ago. I did. So you go further into a spiritual way of operating. You read more books. You buy a lot of books. You search for understanding. You're always on a path looking for something. That's a positive mind, a mind that has the ability to just keep thinking and going forward about certain things. But a lot of times when it comes to women, they tend to be more of a churchgoer, more family oriented, do just what their parents did, and don't necessarily. And this is not all situations. This is some, but not all. But some women tend to be more religious or traditional. I would add. What you think?
Yeah, I can see the reason why though,
Yes,
because of
protection.
protection. I was also gonna say that it's a thing. It's an outlet.
Yeah, yeah.
It's an outlet where women are comfortable having that release
Mm-hmm.
in a temple in a space of neutral grounds,
Right, right, right.
a space of not being um, just being able to let it out.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that, and some men find comfort in that area, and then some men may not.
Right.
You know, so that's where I think that comes from. And like you said, it can be a traditional thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then it could also been that's what works for them.
Right, right, right,
You know, so I think if it does become conflicting with a couple,
right. Mm-hmm.
then it's just understanding where is the conflict. Because again, usually these days people ask those questions. Hey,
Right.
are you religious? Are you not? Because they understand the difficulty that that can bring when it comes to the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
the bonding, the interacting, the raising of kids. So I think I feel comfortable saying that most people these days are. vetting that part of the relationship
Yeah.
to find those common grounds
Agreed.
because they understand a problem that it can cause later on. But if they do find themselves in that cross path, because sometimes people change, sometimes people can become mad or resentful of the church, resentful of the church, and no longer want to go, but the other mate may not be feeling that exact same thing.
Right.
So it's being able to find that comfort zone in your spouse to be able to have those conversations as far as what what are you feeling, because sometimes that person come back around, or sometimes, hey, you know what, you go do your thing, I do my thing, but we understand what operates or what controls this household. And as long as they understand that, hey, we know that there is a God, we know that um we we will pray together. We may
Mm-hmm.
not go to church and worship together, but we will pray together. We will cover our household. If you have kids, we will pray with our kids,
Mm-hmm.
um, to govern and to set
The
that
family.
foundation, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that basis. I think it should be fine, but just understanding, just kind of reconnecting
Mm-hmm.
with each other if something has happened
Right.
or something has changed the mind of the other spouse for whatever reason.
Right. Very good to stay transparent, open, um, and don't ever forget to have those conversations. And if you're dating, please have those conversations first.
Yeah, because
You
it
don't want
doesn't
to be.
change,
It don't change. It really don't.
especially men. Like, men seem to, well, again, this we've lived through a time span, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So
we got some years on our belt.
how people are handling this these days could be a little bit different how it was handled back in our time.
Yeah, we're older.
Yeah,
We're
so
we're like we're in mid 40s, so
yeah.
we we grew up in a time where we had traditional parents, which you grew up very traditional,
Hmm.
mother and father. I grew up a little different, single mother, but I knew my father. I mean, had a relationship with my mom. I grew up on a reservation. Yeah. So, but those I didn't grow up very conventional. I grew up like old school, really old school. Like I grew up. I had a farm with whoever had a farm. We had to do real stuff, real man type of work when we was little kids. That's how we was raised. From martial arts, everything we had to do, we had to do it repetitively. Shout out to Uncle Cedric, rest in peace. But yeah, he kicked our ass. Yeah. So, but overcoming. This is another good. We're gonna change gears a little bit. We gotta come with overcoming outside energies. That's shit. This is a good one because we're talking the every relationship has outside influences. We know this, but can you overcome them? I'm talking about family, friends, social media, co-workers, past relationships, public opinions. It's a lot of navigation. Who's got an
Hmm.
easy buzz? It was a little easy. It was a little pretty easy. We very similar. Family structure, ideology, thought processes. These things have to be. You have to have that before you go on a run with somebody. You know what I'm saying?
That can change up too.
That
That
change
can,
too.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but sometimes the greatest threat to a marriage isn't inside the house. It's what people bring inside the house. So we're talking about who influences your relationships. Are they helping or hurting? And are they building unity or creating division? That's why you be careful who you share and communicate with about your spouse or your significant other. First of all, is in house. Think about what in house is. But if you're in house and you have an outside of the relationship, outside of the house influence in your home, does who has the power of your relationship? Whew, boy, I tell you, we done been through all this shit. We got aces. We ace these tests because it's extremely very valuable, important to respect your mate first, communicate with your mate first, and practice an unadulterated level of transparency so that they know whatever happens to you or you're in a tight, you're in a situation, they know. They're not in the dark. So, all right, I'm change the setting a little bit. Stop. All right. So, yeah, we're talking about who influences the relationship. What do you got to add to that, my dear?
That was a lot unpacked. So I think that, well, one thing I've always been told as far as when it comes to serious relationships, not dating.
Right. Right.
Because dating, you're still getting a feel. You're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be still getting to know
Who
you
you
know
are?
who this person
Who that
is, and
person
and
is?
they're vice versa. They're
Yeah.
teaching you a lot about who you
Right.
are. And so it's a thing of one, and I remember my sister always says this, and just growing up and seeing older, relationships, examples of older relationships is you don't always listen to other people vent with what they have going on, or you have to guard yourself from what other people have going on, because sometimes you can listen to what they're going through and everything's fine in your household, but all of a sudden you listening to what they are venting about, and then it changes your lens,
You start
and
internalizing.
you start looking at your own situation. Well, do I have that problem, or
Ooh.
this is going on? So it's guarding yourself in that perspective when you're being a friend to other people. um I say the other thing I would add to that is, um I guess he, what time is it?
Wow.
He, okay. He is, he's hungry. But the other thing to add to that is, like you said, being able to talk to each other first, and being able to have a level ground
Yeah.
for allowing the other person to talk, because sometimes spouses really, like we talked about in the previous segment, that they don't, communication is hard,
Ooh.
especially when you love the other person, y'all are close. um it's a lot of things become emotional and sensitive
Mm.
to talk about, or sensitive to deal with. So it's creating that space for transparency to exist,
Absolutely.
because a lot of times we think we're creating the space, but it's not. We're not. It's not there, because either the other person can feel like the other partner is being defensive,
Mm.
or the other person um is not acknowledging. So just really leaving the space to communicate with each other.
Right.
So I think that's very important when you are facing um that type of situation. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Okay. So influence is not necessarily control. It's a good thing. Influence is earned, by the way. We're gonna wrap it up pretty soon. Boy,
yeah,
stop.
yeah.
He's
Jeep
trying to
is
make.
really,
He's really he's doing the most.
yeah, he's
So
doing the most
we are becoming when you become influential, when your mate knows. It's when you're honest, it's when you're consistent, it's when you're trustworthy and you're willing to listen. Those are your telltale signs. But people often want authority without responsibility.
right now. What does that mean?
People want authority. They want to be they want to have all the influence. But when something go wrong, they done. I didn't I ain't having to do that part.
Okay, okay, okay.
So they get out. They get out. Oh yeah, do that, baby, do it. Mm-hmm. But then when it's
Okay, got it.
jacked up,
That outside influence has the
yeah,
authority until it goes wrong.
shit go
And
wrong.
then that's when it's just like, I was just talking to you. I was letting you talk.
Uh huh.
Okay. Okay, got it.
Uh
Jeep
huh.
got something to say.
What you got to say, little boy?
Now lick the mic. Don't lick the mic.
All right. So that's it. That's where I was coming from with that. But what makes we got to talk about what makes you trust somebody, the influence to have that much influence over your life. What makes a person do that? Or is it? You think it's
Well,
subconscious, or do you think it's they do it consciously?
No, that's the longest relationship.
Hmm.
So the people who typically individuals trust to either listen to what they're going through or experience or vice versa,
Hmm.
that's typically the longer relationship outside of the current relationship that they have with their spouse.
Got it.
So it's more influential. That's just like um, best friends or siblings can have more
Oh.
influence over the spouse. So for example, if there was a best friend or family member, that
Hmm.
family member been in my life my
Long
whole
relationship.
life, right?
Long
Right. So if I
relationship.
trust what that individual says and their input, then it could keep my lens skewed based
Hmm.
off of what that person feels,
Right.
opposed to me, like my sister always said, hey, when you being married, like y'all make y'all marriage what y'all want it to be, because people are living their life how they want to live it.
Ooh.
So if you were to take on what they think and what they say, opposed to creating your own world with your spouse
Hmm.
and your family, like you'll end up in a certain space
Yeah.
if you depend on what other listen to everything everybody else got to say with what you should and what you shouldn't be doing
Right.
in your marriage or your committed relationship. So
Indeed.
make it your own.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Because the journey of discovery is a big thing. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing they already know their spouse. When people change, we discussed this, people change, people grow, people evolve. Marriage is discovering your mate over and over and over again. Seriously. So, because you have to think about a few things. If a person you married 5 years ago isn't the same person sitting beside you today, it's because are you growing together? Are you participating in the relationship? Are you valuing the relationship? Are you taking it up or are you bringing it down?
Mm-hmm.
Where are you trying to go? You're only going to know that with the person that you continuously have to do that building with, unless you're
Mm-hmm.
on some type of fucking autopilot that we just do shit. We just here. No plan, no nothing. Look how much. Look at what we have accomplished. I'm talking about from projects.
Mm-hmm.
Um, shit, we do everything. Shit,
We need to
I
get
rather
outside. We need to get
we need to go outside yeah,
outside.
for real. But seriously, the beautiful part about being married when you do everything with your mate is because of the fact that you got an ace. That's your partner. That person, you just you just that's who you got. You got to rock with them. You got to rock with them.
And
So
it doesn't mean eliminate everybody else that you
no,
have outside as far
no,
as
no,
your
no. Just
friends and
prioritize.
close family. It's just, that becomes your core.
Yeah.
That's your core. That's your new core.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and centering that can be tough in the beginning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It can be it's an adjustment
It's an
period,
adjustment.
and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay to even acknowledge that it's an adjustment period. Um, but it's just knowing that that's what it is, an adjustment period. It shouldn't stay that way
Right. And
forever.
that was a very great point because the next thing I'm gonna say, because the other question that you can ask yourself for real is, are you still learning who you are? If you're still learning who you are, you're still learning your mate. If you're still, I mean, you have an idea, but the healthiest marriages are people that stay curious about each other. Don't you think? Curiosity, want to know, want to know what kind of gift to get you. Just being observant
Yeah.
and seeing because people do change. You even fragrances even change for you that you don't like. You used to like it. You know what I mean? So we have that right to change. We have a right. You're a human being that's evolving and learning and growing and living, but you have the right to change. And
It's
and then you got to apologize for it. Stop.
and it's changing for the best.
Yes. Stop.
Those hard changes where people doing are doing are doing people are picking up different extremes and habits and stuff like that. Like that's real conversation for people to adjust to that, because your spouse may not adjust to hard changes that you've made.
Yeah.
That is not the better of you, the better part of you.
Right.
And if you're going through something, then you got to talk about it. Allow them the space to adjust that you're going through something, but you can't just put it off on them and expect for them to deal with that, especially if that becomes, um, if it becomes a space for them to
Mhm.
worry, you know, and constantly be concerned.
Right.
So it's like, again, making your changing for the better is always best,
Yeah.
but just be mindful if your changes are, like you said, hindering the relationship or hurting the relationship, because you can't expect for people to
We're not robots.
co-sign
Right.
and
That's the
adjust to
next point.
that. Yeah.
That's a great, great point because that brings us to this next point of ours to make here. We know marriage isn't perfect. Marriage isn't about agreeing on everything either. Marriage is two imperfect people choosing to grow together.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what it is. It ain't. It's not a whole lot of what you would call science to it, but the science is the connection. The
Mm-hmm.
science is in knowing how to stay together because shit is tough sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So strong marriages
And
require
unpredictable.
and very
Yeah.
unpredictable.
Yep.
Marriage, a strong marriage requires a few things: communication, patience, forgiveness, understanding, and you have to share that purpose, share that vision, share that purpose. What you think?
Yeah, well, I'll say I agree with sharing the vision and sharing the purpose, and also being in support of the vision and the purpose, because you may not participate
Stop.
in every
Get your
single
ass over
thing.
here. He
You
just
may
having
not. He is.
yeah.
Our daughter's out of town, so
So he's just acting a fool.
yeah, he's. But a person may not be a part of their spouse's
Mm.
vision or purpose, but as long as they're supporting and
Right.
that person feels supportive,
Mm-hmm.
supported, then I think, that's just as much.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's just as much.
So the closing, we'll leave y'all with some closing thoughts, just for you to think about. Your mate is not your burden. Your mate is your opportunity. And your opportunity is to learn, grow, heal, discover, build something bigger, you know, than either person could build alone. Marriage is not, I repeat, marriage is not a destination that you just get there and, shit, we here now. Marriage is a journey of two people discovering that they are who they are and what they can become together. You know,
Absolutely.
no, now I gotta do my
Oh
thing.
yeah.
So, y'all noticed that's the show. That's the show today, fellas, guys, ladies, everybody. But check it out. Y'all know this is my favorite part of the show. You know what it is. The wheel is
Yours.
yours. Be cool. Stay safe. Happy Sunday. And y'all have a good day, man.
Have a good day. All
Hey,
right. Mwah.
ah, hey, y'all just y'all do something with yourself with the rest of your day. Holla at your peace.